Good morning and welcome to the new edition of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Well, we have been blaming China, we have been blaming India, and a host of other countries for pollution, and that's fair. Nobody can deny that those countries are highly polluted and even not worth living. There are places, for example, Delhi, where the air quality is 7 times worse than what it should be. Chennai, China, so the gas masks, which are supposed to be worn otherwise, are normally worn. But then, as far the economy is concerned, the fuel economy, do you know which is the country in the world is notorious for having the worst possible fuel economy? It's not India, it's not China, it's not Thailand, it's not Korea, it's not some third world country. It is one of the most advanced countries in the world, a member of G8. And that country is none other than our country, Canada. It tops in the international ranking as far as the worst fuel economy is concerned, and that's a cause not for celebration, that's a cause for concern. The International Energy Agency every year gives a report, and the recent report given a few days back says that Canada has the highest average fuel consumption in the world, per capita, of course, because the population of this country is just two New Delhis. And the carbon dioxide emissions per kilometer, each car driven, are the highest in the world. And not only they are highest in the quantity, even in they're the largest and the second highest in the world. Are you shocked? You should not be. You are one of those people who are responsible for it. Majority of the Canadians drive big, heavy gas guzzlers. And the result would naturally be that your gas emissions are the highest. And that's what makes Canada the top of the chart, the worst fuel economy in the world. If you look at the carbon dioxide emissions per kilometer, they are the highest in the world here in Canada, followed by United States, then Philippines, then Russia, and China and India come at way down, nowhere. They can be easily condoned if we compare them to our great country, the country of having the largest number of the forests, natural resources, water bodies, and everything. And then, the plea that we take for driving these gas guzzlers, heavy emitters of carbon dioxide, is so specious and without any reason. People often say, well, it's a vast land after connected less than ideal roads and highways. Our highways are not as good as other countries have. And it's a vast land. It's 3 times bigger than India. As I said the other day, it's bigger than the European Union. And the second reason given is that the cold climate requires more substantial vehicles. Both these arguments are absolutely not acceptable. 80% of the Canadians live in concentrations. They live in the urban or suburban areas where more modest vehicles would be sufficient. How many people live in the remote areas and they have to commute alone? They don't have to. People who live in the remote areas are confined there. But The majority, the 80% of the population is concentrated into urban and suburban areas, and they commute within that area. It's very rarely they commute more than 300 kilometers. Normally, the commute is about 40 kilometers at the most, majority. But then, even if others have to do it, people have been commuting, even with a small cars, longer distances. Then the cold climate. Now, looking at the vast distances. As a matter of fact, if the distance is vast, then that calls for a better fuel efficiency. If it's a highway, you are going uninterrupted, unimpeded, there are no obstacles, then your car emissions should be better, not bad. And if the cold weather is a cause for buying an SUV, there are other countries which have similar frigid conditions. Sweden, Finland, Iceland. And none of those countries rely so much on SUVs the way North Americans do. USA suffers from the same problem. We are truck hungry. Our love for the trucks is unbounded. And that causes concern. No amount of carbon tax is going to change that cultural habit. We have culturally been tuned, motivated all the time to go in for those vehicles, which are gas guzzlers, and in return are the heaviest emitters of carbon dioxide, both in quantity and, as far as the particles are concerned, heavier. So being heavier, they don't go up, they remain at the level where we breathe. And the reason is absolutely not acceptable, neither the vast distances nor the cold climate. Now, the fuel economy standards are also not acceptable. The North American car manufacturers produce larger cars than they would do in Europe or in Asian countries. And this reflects the consumer preference. They are in the market for money. So if you want an SUV, why should they not give you an SUV? Why should they give you a smaller vehicle? But then they are also responsible, the manufacturers. Persistent marketing campaigns and economy of the scales in production push them towards promoting SUVs. And here is a curious amalgam of demand and supply. The demand is created and the supply is there. So both the push and the pull join hands. And who suffers? The country as a whole and the people who are living in the country. And if I look at the fuel standards in Canada and USA to reverse pushing the process out and push the process of marketing and production of heavy vehicles, you can push manufacturers to produce more fuel efficient vehicles. But then our fuel standards are not like that. In part, they have worked. And where they are pushed, we have seen that since 2005, the average fuel consumption of cars has fallen, but they were falling till 2013. Now, this is a curious year. From 2005 to 2013, they were falling, the half era. And after 2013, there has been no decrease, they have again been going up. So, is it the politicians who are responsible for this? Yes. If they turn a blind eye to the violation of standards and to the code of advertising, that no advertisement should be there, which is likely to hurt the country as a whole, then the things would be different. Now, slowdown on fuel economy improvements has a lot to do with the present state of affairs. And do you know the Canadians would buy today not Honda, not Camry, not Civic, which are the mains. We used to be the mainstay of the average Canadian family. When I came here, I was astonished at the number of Civic and Camry and small cars. And today, wherever I look, what I find Ford F-150s, Dodge Rams, Outlanders, Highlanders, and the shift towards the trucks, including SUVs, crossovers, and minivans in the past decade has been phenomenal. I have nothing against them. I know they're more comfortable to drive. I know they're also better in many ways. But this trend is seen everywhere. And the new vehicle sales, if you look at them, there's a big shift towards the trucks. But is bigger the better? Another thing which puzzles me was that people buy trucks, they say they're safer. It's a common wisdom that the bigger and the heavier cars are safer in a collision. But if the collision is between a big vehicle and a small vehicle, then the people sitting in the bigger vehicle are safer. But since both are small, both are safe. They would not be unsafe. The people in smaller vehicles are unsafe when they hit the bigger vehicle, not otherwise. So when similar size vehicles collide, it makes little difference to the safety outcome, whether the vehicle you're traveling is big or small, because both are same. However, as I said earlier, if a giant collides with a pygmy, naturally the pygmy would suffer. Then, the notion of the vehicle size externality, buying a larger car imposes safety cost on the smaller cars. It also raises the prospect of vehicle arms race, with the drivers buying ever larger cars. So there's no end to the safety. Today you want SUVs, crossovers. Tomorrow you'll have Humvees, maybe armed cars, maybe tanks, because they're safer. So this is an unending race, it's a matter of huge concern. And it comes down to the cost. The biggest reason for Canadian fuel inefficient vehicles comes down to cost. The cost to purchase and operate a gas guzzler is much less in Canada than the whole world. Would you believe it? If you have a analysis, you would find that they are much cheaper here in Canada. And the cost difference is in two forms. First is the upfront charges, and the second is vehicle registration. In Europe, I was amazed to see that the vehicle registration is based not on the vehicle, but it's based on the fuel economy or the emission profile. For example, in France, if you go and you want to buy a car, you have a sliding bonus malus plus or fee rebate. They call it a rebate. So high emitting vehicles incur a registration charge of 10,000 euros, while zero emission vehicles have received 6,000 euros in rebates. So they just pay 4,000 euros, 10,000 to 4,000. If the same sort of system of registration was applied here, people will naturally go for small cars. In Norway, a new vehicle is subject to 25% value-added tax and 10,000 euros in registration fee. But if it's a zero emission, then there's no fee at all, absolutely zero. And that's why the plug-in electric share of the new cars in the world, Norway has 49%, and Canada has 2%. Figures speak for themselves. So these upfront charges are often a result alternative to carbon tax. As a matter of fact, this is an ideal way. And they are cost effective as well. They are more cost effective than the fuel and the carbon tax, which is imposed. So focus should be on the role of carbon tax to reduce emission, which it doesn't do. You have got to change the mindset of the people that heavier vehicles, gas guzzlers are not what is required. What is required is smaller or mid-sized cars, which have a fuel economy, which are not gas guzzlers, and which are not carbon dioxide emitters. And that way lies the salvation of the country. And once again, there will be no danger to the natural resources and the beauty of Canada, nor to the economy of the country and your economy. Take care. Thank you.